Hey everyone, it's Eric Kyron Davis. Gamescom started this week in Cologne, Germany, and we're very excited by all the feedback coming in from the attendees as we're showcasing some of the planetary experiences you'll be playing in the 3.0 release. Now, as we promised last week, instead of a full Around the Verse, we're doing a standalone episode of Burndown, our weekly show dedicated to reviewing progress on issues blocking the release of Star Citizen Alpha 3.0. Now, last week we ended at 77 total must-fix issues, broken down by 12 blockers, 37 criticals, 23 highs, 5 moderates, and 0 trivials. So let's check in with the team on how it's going.
I am Maria. I'm working on the Levski for 3.0 and also a few of the shops and outposts for interior lighting setup. So here is the garage area I did for Levski exterior. So the major challenge I got is this is a massive landing zone. So we really have to take care to design the lighting very carefully to make sure we guide the player to the right place. And take this large garage as example. And by looks, since it's a very simple room, but we also have to consider once how the lighting gonna look like once the huge garage or see this roof get dropped in. So yeah, we have to look after both the illuminance in this things carefully. So as a character. So I do have some other examples for the Levski area. So in the lobby entrance, when we're working on the lighting, I use the Amigo samples created by Malay's Place, and we have to make sure the lighting works well on both environment and the characters. So normally when I'm working on, because initially we have lots of problems about the darkened areas, it's when the character moves to the corners, we're gonna have a problem. So that's why we introduce those character mesh and make sure the lighting works both on environment and the characters.
So right now we're working on state machines or animation flow graphs that allow us to be able to break down the performance capture that was shot and be able to focus on which idols the actors naturally moved into and be able to select those and be able to quickly then put those idols onto the performances, edit them together, and also how those different performances connect, what sort of little micro transitions and things like that they need. And this is an example of one of those animation flow graphs, which shows how the character gets from stand idle into the different things that he does. These are our hawkers, people selling things at a stall that you'll see. So actions like calling over, greeting, when you're looking at something, when you're browsing something and things like that, that we're doing this so that we can get as much of that actor's performance into those characters. Once we have this is separate than a behavioral state machine. So a behavioral state machine will say, when you come in to his range, he's going to beckon you over. When you're up at his counter, he's going to greet you. But he's not going to say goodbye to you until he's greeted you. So the behavioral state machine is this governing logic that controls what the hawker does. And the animation flow graph tells the animators how best to go about creating edits for it and creating new assets for it so that we can get those performances into game.
Oh. Died right there. Uh-oh. It's fine. It's the attachments. I thought we fixed that. The majestic ship. It's close. It's all the attachments.
When you blow up the ship, they move with it, so I'm not sure how that...
I wonder if it's an issue where if you can't see it when it blows up.
On the ship side of things, we're implementing all the mobi-glasses inside the cockpits, which require unique mobi-glass animations to be framed properly so you can use it and all the cool features that are involved with that. So there's the rover, there's the mobi-glass. Of course, there's an error, but yeah, framing that so you can press all these buttons.
The path that they provided doesn't the interior is broken, so when I load it in, everything falls through the bottom. But as the ship's falling, the landing gear is still like steady. It's like out and it's fine, and it's just falling.
The biggest issues I've been hitting for the landing gear and the damage are, well, the landing gear want to retract over the land and deploy in space, which is the opposite behavior. Makes it really hard to test this new springy landing gear compression that we're doing. So here's what I'm seeing right now. So it'll retract and, but actually that one worked. What the hell? That one worked, but there we go. That's my bug. Oh, and it broke off. So that's not good.
I think essentially what's happening is like we change the loadout and it persistently removes it all, but on creating the loadout from the path that it's using for the debug command, it's not correctly threading through the persistence flag to actually enable adding the new item. So you spawn, you have nothing, including your head and everything. So I think that if I change that, it should persist correctly, and then when you respawn, you have them again. So.
Excellent.
So one thing that we just knocked off our plates is we've been working with the design team on randomized NPC names so that when you have a mission, rather than being called NPC1 or security guard or something generic like that, we're creating a system in which to create character names and assign them out. So we just uploaded our first batch for testing in the next mission sprint. And I think currently there's some 7,200,000 current combinations of names available. And that was only about half our list. So we should be able to have a robust community of NPC names, which is needed when you have solar systems after solar system that need NPCs walking around. So that was pretty exciting. So we're trying to figure out the odds of getting any one person's name. We've been hiding like dev first and last names in there. So hopefully you'll be able to see some of the designers walking around.
The biggest challenge we're having right now for 3.0 is we're wanting to put lights in all the helmets. And so we are struggling to get engineering's time to fix some bugs that are going on with the lights being able to put in the helmet, because it's not as simple as you would think of just dragging and dropping a light in. It's complicated because it goes into a different entry than it would in just like a normal asset. Like it's not just an art asset, because it's also pulling in a light asset from DataForge, which is a separate thing entirely. So it's not like just putting a light in the level, it's having to pull it from somewhere else. And right now the lights are not aligning to the correct place. So even if we put the light in where we want it to be, and tell it where it's supposed to go, it's not attaching to the helper. So that's a big problem for us right now. The other big focus for the character team right now is just polishing up all the assets. So we're polishing up pretty much anything that's going into the game now, just kind of giving it a good second look to make sure that it looks like it's good to go, making sure there's no bugs with it, making sure all the textures are coming, making sure everything's included, which is an inclusion-exclusion process, which is basically making sure that we're wanting all the files to go into the build that we want to go into the build. So if you forget one, something will just not show up, or it'll show up with a replace me texture, or and that happens occasionally, especially when we're making all these color variants for all these different assets. If we forget to include one of the materials, all of a sudden it just disappears. So it's just a little bit of extra work there.
So yeah, currently for 3.0, we got we actually have a lot of item text that we have to do. It basically needs to be sort of localized and connected and stuff like that, because we have all the stores are coming online and the shopping and stuff like that. And so basically we have a lot of ship components, clothes, armor, weapons, weapon magazines, all that stuff, and all of that needs not only just a name description, but we've actually started to handle the hookup with DataForge ourselves. So we're actually connecting it in the engine and stuff like that. So we're sort of doing checks to make sure that stuff is coming through and if strings are broken and stuff like that. So that's taking a lot of time. And also with the missions coming online, we have a lot of procedural mission text that we need to do. And so Will had worked up a spreadsheet formula that allows us to basically randomize within the spreadsheet so we can kind of test out, but basically we need, so it's basically like a Mad Libs thing. So we write a sentence with like, you know, you are being hired to pick up blank, which could be a box, a crate, or whatever, and take it to destination, and et cetera, et cetera. And so basically we not only write the Mad Libs, but we have to write the variations. And so the spreadsheet that he made will basically auto randomize it so we can kind of spot check everything to make sure it's plugging in all right.
What I'm working right now on for the 3.0 release is this new feature that we call LOD update for movement and behavior. So this is a simple task map that I use for my development of the LOD update for movement and behavior. What I want to show you right now is first like how the behavior will change when you are close and when you are far. So in this case, if I jump in game, this behavior will test the communication of some specific facial and audio lines. In this case, the audio is one loud audio line that we could use in a shopkeeper behavior, and the behavior just waits 5 seconds and then triggers the line. If I go far, we will see that first of all, the character will T-pose because all his animation will be posed and his movement will be posed, his physics simulation will be posed. And in the behavior will update, it's on screen, the weight will update, and the communication will immediately succeed because it's not really important if the player is not close. What I also want to show you is basically this force update is dependent on the action areas that are this green area around the character. So when a character is inside an area that is visible for the player, then he will anyway at least simulate a lightweight version of his behavior. If the area is also gets basically not visible, right now we use a 100 pixel on screen size to decide if something is in range or not for the player. So as you see, I'm going very far, the area is still green, and eventually it will turn red, and the back throw information on screen will also update for his behavior of the area.
And the other issue is when we blow up the big ships, the debris is not rotating. So it looks like Lego pieces kind of just moving like this. So we've got fixes in the works, and I should be getting new code very shortly, and we will be fixing this stuff up, and it's going to be a late night.
Now, as you can see, things change almost every other minute, since we're never not working or testing Star Citizen. Right now, we've resolved 22 and only added 3 to our must-fix list. This means we're at 68 issues left. We've checked in over 2,004 new changes, and the remaining overall bug and task count for 3.0 is 3,519. It's been quite the week across the entire company, and as we resolve more issues, we get increasingly energized coming down the home stretch to the first release to non-CIG testers. So check back next week here on Burndown.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in the Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.